And our last presentation for today, and I'll remind you, it is our Distinguished Research Award presentation, is Associate Professor of Criminal Justice, Monica Solinas-Saunders from the School of Public and Environmental Affairs. And she'll be presenting on binary and non-binary women at the intersection of motherhood, trauma, and addiction disorder.
Thank you everybody for coming. It is a real honor to be here presenting from this study. This is a collaborative study that I have developed with my colleagues here at IUN Northwest, and I have executed with the help of several student research assistants. But I also want to mention that it is a collaborative study because it involves the commitment and incredible work of many community partners, many individuals throughout the Midwest. The title of the presentation, Binary and Non-Binary Women at the Intersection of Motherhood, Trauma, and Addiction Disorder, really summarizes the essence of this study. We are very interested in the life of women who are mothers and struggle with addiction disorder. Oftentimes, addiction is not the only disorder. It's paired with mental health problems or other experiences of abuse during childhood or adolescence or even young adulthood. So, we were interested in designing a study when an opportunity for funding came available through Indiana University Grant Challenge program. We knew from the literature and because of our expertise that drug addiction is very problematic while you are attempting to mother. It is problematic in the sense that can have health implications, not only for women who are using during pregnancy, but also for women who are mothering young children. It leads often to very risky behavior that can result in HIV/AIDS, overdose, but can also lead to incarceration. And incarceration of mothers is a problem that we are facing and is very serious in our society. So we put our expertise together and we designed a study that focuses on gender, race, addiction disorder, motherhood, and many other issues. We used a design that I would define as deductive-inductive. Deductive means that we use existing theory to design the interview framework. And the existing theories are mostly intersectional theories that allow us to ask participants about the role of gender identity and racial identity in their experiences. We also use the life course perspective to develop a framework of interviews that would ask mothers about their experiences throughout their lifespan, so that women could have the opportunity to focus on transitions throughout their lives, from childhood through adulthood. Important events in their lifetime would be schooling, or the first friendships, the first introduction to drugs, the birth of the children, marriage, entering the workforce, and many more. Of course, because of the open-ended framework, we ended up creating a narrative that is incredibly rich, and this is why it's taking us so long to analyze it. From the slide that I'm presenting right now, you can see the breakdown of the study. We have reached 95 individuals, 95 unique individuals for a total of 110 interviews. In fact, 15 of our participants were interviewed twice. Once because identified as individuals in recovery from drug addiction, and once because they were employed as service providers in the agencies that we contacted. Again, from the breakdown, you can see that 77% of our participants were female. And here you probably are wondering, okay, you said you were interested in mothers, so why did you also interview the other people? Because when you do research, you don't have opportunities to random sample your participants. You want to be open. Participants have a lot to say. So we continue interviewing people until we had a large sample of mothers who were our primary target. But as we read the interviews, we realized that all the people we interviewed actually provided important information, and we can use them as comparative group. The majority of them, of course, are mothers who struggle with addiction. Among the mothers, 18% of them identified as members of the LGBT community. And you know, because you are aware of the breakdown in our general population, that this is more than twice the percentage of individuals in the general population who identify as LGBT individuals. Among the men, conversely, all of them identify themselves as heterosexual. So that is quite a significant difference. About 1/3 of our participants were members of a racial minority. We obviously mapped all the agencies and all the communities in the Midwest so that we could have a fair representation of diversity that would resemble that of the general population in the Midwest. But 32% is somewhat higher than the breakdown of the general population. The majority of the minority groups were identified themselves as either Black or African American. There was another group that I would consider the largest minority. They were Native Americans, and a very small group of Latinos, Latinx individuals. So, from the analysis of the interviews, which at this point I would call preliminary because of the volume of interviews that we have, emerged very important themes. This is actually a long list of themes, you probably are saying, and for the sake of the time, I won't be going into much depth for all of them, but I want to say that perhaps one of the most important themes that emerge from the analysis of the interviews is actually the social stigma. The social stigma that all these individuals face, especially mothers, and several of the themes actually are intertwined. Social stigma is not only because of the life they're conducting, because of the friendships they have, because of the communities they're in, but also because of their gender identity, because of their racial identity. So some of these issues actually overlap. One important issue is that for women who are mothers, especially those who are pregnant, asking for help when they're using and being pregnant is very difficult because of the stigma attached to using while being pregnant, and also the stigma attached to using while mothering in general. And it is because of the social stigma that many of these women do not look for help, and with the insurmountable consequences of what this means. There are obviously many negative aspects of daily experiences, as you can imagine, but there is also a silver lining. There are community services. They are doing really great work. And so I know that it's very difficult to be positive when we talk about social issues like this, but I also want to be optimistic because some of the agencies are really doing the best, and they're trying to meet these mothers where they are, asking them what they need, asking them what is the plan for the future. So these findings are very important considering the type of policies that we currently have. Half of the United States enforce policies that consider the use of opioids during pregnancy as a form of abuse and neglect. Once institutions are involved, they never leave. These women will be monitored for many, many years to come. When you talk to service providers, they will tell you, well, the idea is to take care of the children and the mothers as well. Therefore, when we find out about the needs, we unleash a number of resources and services. But what service providers cannot tell you is that unleashing programs often means also unleashing power and control over these individuals' lives and making decisions for them. And the infantilizing of women who are mothers is not a new issue in our history. So we don't really have a lot of guidance from policies, and most of what we do with mothers in the community really relies on the wisdom of the service providers who are willing to listen to them. So we really hope that our study has positive implications for changing policies, not only at the local level, but also at the national level, considering that even though this is a study that involves 95 individuals, considering the type, the depth of the narrative, it is a fairly large study. We also see that research that focuses on mother's addiction is often quantitative and limited in the depth because it doesn't involve the narrative from the participants. And so we really hope that perhaps our study can stimulate more ideas and push for more qualitative research in this area. Now you probably are wondering who are the we in this study. And so I have a slide for our team, and I want to say thank you to Maureen Rutherford, Natasha Brown, Mark Thomas, and Kevin McClamory. I could not have designed this study by myself. I could not have got the grant by myself, and so their support was incredible. They also identified the perfect research assistant. Melissa Jones is a former student from SPIA. She did several of the interviews. Latina Andrews also did interviews. Abigail Moss, Amira Zahabi, Everett Fitzgerald, and Logan Foster are working with me on the transcribing. And I really hope that we can continue this work, and maybe we will have a phase 2 of this study. We are focusing on intervention and see whether our presentations in the community can foster some change. Thank you so much.